Okay, there we go. Now I feel a little better. I like to double check it because I just want to make sure that, our folks online are getting the same experience as if they were here. Because a lot of them just can't be here, and that's not their fault. And so it's important that I do what I can diligently to make sure that they're getting the material and the content needed. So that's what I'm doing. All right, folks, so here we go. This is our next little point here. What were we just talking about? We were talking about, the whole misdirection, and the balance of timing and information. It's a balancing act. Another thing that you need to consider when you're writing is character as a force. Okay? Characters are not just individuals. Can't express that enough, folks. Characters are not just individuals. They are forces acting on the story's energy. Okay? The characters are forces acting on the story's energy. Okay? And the emotional force, right? Love, fear, anger, detachment, right? These are all emotional forces that are attached, right? The characters are attached through the story's energy. Ideological force is another one. Ideological force, we have beliefs and worldview and mortality. Okay? But those aren't just the only ones. We also have environmental force, right? Environmental force. We have chaos. We have stability. We have survival pressure. Okay? When a character enters a scene, something changes. Or something ought to change, right? When a character enters the scene, something's got to change. Okay? They shift in tone, or in energy, or in direction. Scenes are shaped by collisions between these forces, right? Whether it be environmental, emotional, or ideological, the scenes are shaped by collisions between forces. Goodness. Whew. Say that 10 times, you know what I mean? A character should always alter the scene, basically, just by being present. If a character leaves the scene, does anything change? If not, then a character is not functioning as a force, not as an emotional force, not as an ideological force, not as an environmental force. Okay, it's got to be that way. It's got to be, altering the scene, the character. Character's got to alter the scene. I mean, the whole scene should be about the character, obviously. Okay. Our next thing is a movement. That's the whole movement of everything going on right now. When you're writing a script, there's got to be movement. There's got to be projectile. There's got to be a flow, right? There's got to be this relay. Think of a relay race. Touch the red flag every 10 minutes. Moment design. Right, let's jump into that. Let's jump into the presence of it all. Moment design is, your scripts that you write are going to be remembered through moments, not plot. Okay? Your scripts are going to be remembered by moments, by memory, not plot. Okay? A strong moment includes emotional shifts. Okay? There's got to be a sense of visual clarity. There's got to be a psychological impact right? And residual meaning, okay? Remember my last class I was telling you last week, spiritual residue, spiritual residue, spiritual residue, right? Use that. Spiritual residue and metaphysics of love are great tools for tone and all of those things. But there should always be a strong moment, always is going to have a residual meaning. You can also build that by stripping away excess dialogue. Strip away dialogue that just kind of goes on and is mundane and just over-explaining. You don't need that. You don't need that. Another thing you can do is focus on one simple emotional truth, right? Focus on one singular emotional truth and then fixate on it. Fixate on it. Okay, that's going to let the moment breathe. Gotta let the moment breathe. For example, a character choosing silence instead of speaking says a lot. Says a lot. Maybe another example is a sudden shift in behavior. Right? Character starts acting erratic or something when he was just once very calm or something. I don't know. Or another thing I like to use a lot is a moment of clarity, what's the word? Realization. Yeah, a realization. But without explanation, right? Kind of that eureka moment, but really for the character. So the audience is objectively looking back like this. They don't know. Okay? The audience, if the audience remembers one thing, what is it? It should be one moment worth building the scene around. Okay? It should be that one moment. If the audience remembers one thing, it should be that one moment. And you can have multiple of those moments, I tell you what. So the next part here is what I like to call controlled disorientation. Yeah, disorientation. Now, disorientation can be powerful when controlled. It really can. Have you ever been disoriented before? I've been disoriented before, Get hit in the head really hard or something and you're fuzzy, you can't see nothing, you're just distorted. You're disoriented. That can be really powerful. Because what it does is, and again, when it's controlled, it's got to be controlled somewhat, but it's allowing reflection. It's reflection of an internal confusion. Okay, it deepens the immersion, and it breaks predictability. I was going off about that this morning. Breaking the predictability. When things are too repetitive, that's what we expect. We expect routine. We expect daily. Go in here, we open the door, we feed the dog. And that's when you break. You break predictability. Because that's what's going to make you star shine, baby. Break predictability, folks. Some of my techniques of doing some of these things, as far as disorientation goes, blur perception a little bit. Blur reality a little bit. We need things to... You almost want this normal, cute little world that the character thinks they're in to fall apart and break, and they're forced to face hard truths and travesty and tragedy and just hard things. Okay, you want to blur perception and reality, because more times than not, reality is just something we create in our own heads. Sorry. That's all it is, folks. Another technique I use, though, is shift tone. Shift tone. That's what I call it. I think I just came up with that, by the way. Shift tone. But you want to shift the tone unexpectedly, is what I was trying to say. But I kind of like that, shift tone, right? So when you're writing, remember, shift tone. Tone, shift tone. Okay, you gotta change the tone unexpectedly. Just throw the audience 360 degrees the other direction, right when they think they know what's going on. Another technique, of course, that it talks about is withhold. Withhold the full context of everything going on. Now, there are some warnings when it comes to disorientation. Disorientation must still feel intentional when you're doing it. Okay? It's still got to feel intentional. See, because confusion can become powerful when it's feeling meaningful. So, yeah. You have to just do it real carefully, because too much confusion and then, right? The audience is disconnect. They're going to disconnect. But that confusion can become very powerful when it feels meaningful, right? It always goes back to the feeling. You want your audience to feel. And if they're not feeling, then you're failing. Sorry. All right, so if I were to put all of this in a final little principle, a script is not linear, right? A script is not linear. It is a system of pressure, a system of release, a system of transformation. Your responsibility is to guide the audience through that system, right? You are not writing events. Right? You are not writing events. No, you are engineering experience over time. Okay? You are engineering experience over time. Don't be a boring writer, folks. Listen to everything I tell you. This is what's going to really make your writing not boring. Not boring. And, I feel like it's an easier way of screenwriting just in general, because it's actually, a lot of it is stuff that you just have to kind of visually make, So the writing portion can be very simple, right? Because a lot of this stuff is felt. It's not necessarily what you just read in a book. So, that's what I have for you as far as the cars, right? Those are the hidden engines, though. That's what I call it, at least, of, good screenwriting, in my opinion. Let's see if I have any more for you. Again, most writers, they are thinking in the terms of plot. They're always thinking of the plot, guys. Who cares about the damn plot? Throw the plot, in your garden plot and bury it deep. Okay? Strong scripts are built from repetitive, repeatable scene types, okay, that create emotional and psychological impact. You don't just write a bunch of random scenes. You write specific kinds of moments, right, that show up across all of your work. That's what you want to do. Here's another good example, the liminal space. I got a little tired. Sorry, folks. Goodness gracious. You tired too? Oh, my goodness. People forget, I'm just human. I get tired, I get hungry, all those things. Okay, let me just jump right into this, though. We got a couple more points. The liminal space scene, okay, where a character exists between two states. Okay, wake up. We gotta wake up, folks. This is important. The liminal space scene. Okay, you guys hear the memes on YouTube and everything? The liminal space, they say. They're kind of cool videos. I think they're even making some video games of them on Steam and What Will You and all around. So the liminal space is something that I utilize quite often, and a lot of directors before me have as well. The liminal space, though, is a scene where the character exists, right, between two states. Kind of in between not who they were and not yet what they will become. Kind of in between those two things, okay? Often takes place in buses and roads and hallways and doorways, doorknobs, night spaces, transitional environments. These are great liminal spaces. I mean, even the college, this college folks, guys, seriously, when I get some people together, we will be filming on this campus. There's some great liminal spaces that are perfect for any kind of introspection or emotional, room for me to convey what I want and everything. These liminal spaces, they allow for that identity shift that we were just talking about. It leaves room for emotional suspension, okay? Internal realization. These liminal spaces are really just allowing you to focus on the character on that deep level, as if you're in a first-person view. In these scenes, typically we have minimal dialogue. It's usually slow pacing. It's usually a heavy atmosphere. It's usually internal or implied monologue. All right? This is stuff I'm directly, this is what David Lynch, this is like touching on what kind of David Lynch was doing. David Lynch used a lot of liminal spaces. So that's where I'm ripping this from, if you will. Even though I always did it before I even knew of David Lynch, it doesn't matter. He's a great example of how to do it. So, riding on the coattails of him, I had to do a shout out. We love David Lynch, don't we? We gotta love David Lynch. I hope we all do. Better go Google his name if you don't know him. It's always about what's happening underneath. The character is detaching. They're detaching from their previous self, or perhaps they're becoming aware of something new coming from within. The most important changes happen in between, not at the destination. Liminal spaces are very much like a purgatory of one's personal journey of self-discovery. Let's look at another dynamic. Let's look at the power reversal scene. Okay? This is where a scene kind of controls, shifts from one character to another. Right? And there's different types of this. There's emotional, right? There's maybe confidence to vulnerability. There's a social version of this. There's a dominance to submission. And of course, the one I use a lot is the psychological version of all of this, where it's certainty and then doubt. Okay? The structure should be very much something along the lines of one character holds control, then a subtle disruption occurs of some kind, and then the control begins to shift, and by the end, power has changed hands. It works great. It works great because as human beings, we are wired to track who is in control. We're wired that way. We're wired to track who is in control. So a scene becomes engaging. It becomes very engaging when the moment power starts shifting. Right? Very, very good. Very, very good. Okay, we got some more points, but let me double check my zooms real fast. Okay. Yeah, what was that? Oh, okay. I'll be right there. Here I come. I had to check my zoom too, so. We'll just do two at once here, huh? Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. If you got to go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to put it on Canvas. Yeah, finally got it to work. Isn't that crazy? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Hey, thank you for showing up. God bless you. Thank you. Okay, take care. Okay, we're good on our Zoom, folks. But we were running out of time. It's almost time for me to go. Almost 5 o'clock, and I'm ready to go home. And I think you guys are too, so it's okay. But here's one more little thing that I like to do. It's the silent confrontation, right? Silent confrontation. It's a confrontation where the truth is present, but it's not spoken directly, right? Okay, dialogue. In fact, dialogue avoids the real issue in most of the scenes with this. And subtext, really the subtext carries the meaning. Because the silence is creating pressure, it's creating that tension. And it's showing what's happening underneath. Because, let's say you have characters in this and they're doing something, right? Well, both characters know the truth underneath, right? But neither of them want to say it, right? So, some of the tools of that are pauses, right? Allow pauses, allow natural pauses, allow eye contact. Especially when you have two characters, it's a beautiful thing. Allow the eye contact. Allow the physical behavior. Allow the timing of all of those things. The most intense conflict is the one that isn't spoken. Truly. It's the most intense one. So, let the tension exist in what's avoided. And always remove direct statements. Because that's just, it's too easy. It's too easy. And quite frankly, you're treating your audience like they're stupid. Don't do it, folks. Let's see, we got the reality collapse. That's one of my favorites. And basically that's a moment where the perceived reality shifts or breaks, right? It's an emotional collapse. It's a psychological realization. It's a sudden violence. It's a tone shift of calm to chaos. It's great to wake the audience up. It's a great way to break comfort and to reveal a deeper truth, to really drill in a deeper truth. So, a good order of operations for that is like having a stable environment, right? And then introduce the subtle uneasiness, and then have a sudden disruption. Bam! Right? And then, boom! What happens? A new reality emerges. New reality emerges. See, because reality doesn't change gradually. It breaks. Look at life. You ever go through a change you weren't expecting? It probably wasn't very gradual. It probably just, boom, hit you on the ass and you had to go. And that's it, right? So reality in real life, it just doesn't change gradually. It just breaks in two. And usually when you least expect it. And that's life. It's a beautiful thing, really. It's not fun to go through, but once you get over it, right? Hey. And with that, I think, okay, I'll just finish this up real quick because I do gotta go. Okay, yeah, our last little thing I want to say for today is the residual ending. Okay, when you're working on the ending of a story or film, have an ending that provides, rather prioritizes, emotional after effect over explanation. Okay? Minimal resolution, strong feeling, open interpretation is what I'm talking about. Okay? What is that going to do for your audience? It's going to extend the story beyond the screen. It's going to give your audience something to take home. Forces the audience to reflect. And it creates, well, yeah, it creates a lasting impact. You know, and you can do this by ending on an image, ending on a feeling, and just always avoid over-explaining. Don't over-explain. It's just the killer of your story, I tell you. The ending is where the audience begins their experience. The ending of any good film is where the audience begins their experience. Okay, with that, I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you again for showing up to class, guys. We will do it again tomorrow. Feel free to come at 9 a.m. and be here, or you can come in the evening classes here. Like I said, if you want the script, it'll be in the morning, but you can always go on Canvas, and this will be on Canvas. And yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. All right, let's go. Time to go. All right. Yeah, exactly. Tell me about it. Well, you know, I just woke up this morning and I felt great, but man, towards the evening, you know, I know you're yawning and stuff. It's okay. Yeah.